Everyone knows David Beckham, the celebrity, the fashion icon, the global superstar. But what if I told you that very fame has made him one of the most underrated footballers in history? In this video, we're going to uncover the real story of the player behind the headlines. So make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell, because you won't want to miss this. In a quiet London home nestled between two sisters lived a young boy named David Robert Joseph Beckham. His life was ordinary, almost unremarkable. His mom was a hairdresser, his dad a kitchen fitter. But there was one thread of destiny that set him apart. His family were die-hard Manchester United fans, often making the long 200-mile journey just to feel the roar of Old Trafford. And his middle name, Robert Joseph. That was a tribute to the one and only Sir Bobby Charlton. Life has a funny way of bringing heroes together. Young David would eventually meet the man himself attending one of Sir Bobby Charlton's famed soccer schools. In his second year, something clicked. He won a competition, and the prize was something out of a dream, a training session with the giants of FC Barcelona. The boy wasn't just good. He was special. And Sir Bobby, a man who knew greatness, when he saw it, felt it in his bones. He picked up the phone, contacted his beloved Manchester United, and urged them to scout this kid. In what felt like the blink of an eye, that boy from London was on a path to becoming a legend, just like the man who saw his spark. And today, I'm not just going to tell you how that happened. I'm going to show you why the critics who called him a celebrity, not a legend, were absolutely unequivocally wrong. One thing led to another, and suddenly David Beckham was a 16-year-old trainee at Manchester United. Now I often mention players crossing paths in youth teams because it's a fun piece of trivia. But this youth team, this one deserves a moment of silence. This wasn't just a group of promising kids. It was a constellation of future stars. It didn't just have David Beckham. It had Ryan Giggs, Paul Scholes, and the Neville brothers, Gary and Phil. As you can imagine, they weren't just successful. They were dominant. By 1994, Beckham got his first taste of the big time, a brief appearance for the first team. But his journey wasn't a straight line to the top. He was soon loaned out to Preston North End, a move that could have been a step back, but instead became a launching pad. He impressed everyone famously, scoring a goal directly from a corner kick, a flash of the audacious brilliance that would later define him. The following season, a wind of change blew through Manchester United. Key players departed, and Sir Alex Ferguson, a man of conviction, did something that sent shockwaves through the footballing world. Despite being linked with established legends like Mark Overmars and Roberto Baggio, he chose to trust his kids. He chose to play the youth. One of them, of course, was David Beckham. The media was aghast. They called it a revolt, a sign of the club's lack of ambition. Their voices grew even louder after a crushing 3-1 defeat to Aston Villa on the opening day of the Premier League. But even in that loss, there was a glimmer of hope. The single United goal was scored by Beckham. Slowly but surely, the boys found their rhythm. They picked up the pace, the confidence grew, and the chemistry ignited. By New Year's, they were still 10 points adrift of a powerful Newcastle side, but something had shifted. They clawed their way back match by match until they achieved the unthinkable, winning both the FA Cup and the Premier League. The kids had become kings. The next year, Beckham was handed the iconic number 10 shirt, and a single moment would etch his name into footballing folklore forever. It was the opening day of the season, a match against Wimbledon. Beckham, deep in his own half, looked up. He showed that one quality that separates the great from the good: supreme, unshakable confidence. He noticed the goalkeeper straying off his line, and without a moment's hesitation, he unleashed a strike from the halfway line. The ball sailed through the air, a perfect arc against the sky, before nestling into the back of the net. It is still considered by many to be the greatest opening day goal of all time. After that, he wasn't just a promising youngster anymore. He was a regular starter, a vital cog in the machine that helped Manchester United retain the title, earning himself the PFA Young Player of the Year award in the process. The following season, a Titan retired. Eric Cantona, a club legend, and the charismatic owner of the number 7 shirt, hung up his boots. A new guardian of that sacred number was needed, and David Beckham was the chosen one. Unfortunately, his first season wearing it saw Manchester United fall just short, finishing second to a formidable Arsenal team. Over the summer, he would finally get his chance to represent England in a major tournament, something that felt long overdue. But this would mark the beginning, not the end, of his turbulent relationship with the national team and its coach, Glenn Hoddle. At the time, Beckham's life off the pitch was also making headlines. For about a year and a half, he had been dating Victoria Adams, famously known as Posh Spice. They had met in the Manchester United Players' Lounge. Despite his rising fame, he was still a relative unknown in the global celebrity sphere. He asked for the Spice Girl's number, and as she later recalled, she was charmed by his quiet, low-key, boy-next-door appeal. She scribbled it down on a plane ticket and handed it to him. By the next January, they were engaged. As you can imagine, this relationship catapulted Beckham into a new stratosphere of worldwide notoriety. The media frenzy was relentless, with many critics claiming his new celebrity lifestyle was affecting his focus on the pitch. One of those critics was his own national team coach, who controversially dropped him for the first 2 matches of the World Cup. He eventually relented for the 3rd game, and Beckham, ever defiant, did not disappoint. He silenced his detractors with an incredible 30-yard free kick, a goal of pure technical genius. It seemed like he had won them over. But then, in a single fateful moment, he made a mistake that would turn the tabloids against him with a vengeance 1,000 times worse than before. In the round of 16 against Argentina, after being fouled by Diego Simeone, a frustrated Beckham flicked a leg out from the ground and caught the Argentine midfielder. Simeone went down, and the referee, without hesitation, showed a straight red card. England, down to 10 men, were eventually knocked out on penalties. In the aftermath, at a press conference, Beckham was seen passing by in the background, his eyes red and swollen as if he had been crying. When the team arrived back home, the welcome was brutal. Journalists swarmed him, shouting disheartening questions, one literally asking, "How does it feel to let your country down? Do you realize what you have done?" The next day, the cover of the Daily Mirror read, "10 heroic lions, 1 stupid boy." 2 days later, a dartboard with Beckham's face on it was printed. By now, I think you get it. Beckham was at the center of the world's attention, and it felt like the world hated him. Imagine being 23 years old and feeling the weight of an entire nation's anger on your shoulders. How do you even begin to recover from that? Let me know in the comments how you think you would have handled that immense pressure. But the next season was different. It was as if that fire of criticism forged something unbreakable within him. Beckham returned to Manchester United, not broken, but with a quiet, burning determination. He looked like a man on a mission, dropping world-class performances one after another. Manchester United progressed in every single competition. They were relentless. At a certain point, they found themselves on the verge of history. They were in the final of the Champions League, the final of the FA Cup, and they had gone a staggering 17 match days without a loss in the league. Now, if you know anything about English football, you know that the treble winning the domestic league, the main domestic cup, and the top European cup, it just doesn't happen. It's the holy grail, a near impossible feat. And before 1999, it had never happened. I've seen people claim that this Manchester United team didn't deserve it, that there were better teams in English football history. But let me put that into perspective for a second. That season, they played Barcelona twice. Bayern Munich 3 times, Inter Milan twice, and Juventus twice. They faced their domestic rivals Liverpool 3 times and Chelsea 4 times. They didn't lose a single one of those matches. They also went 29 matches unbeaten to end the season. That isn't luck. That is consistency at its absolute peak. And that is what wins you trophies. Of course, they secured the Premier League title and won the FA Cup. But let's focus on the one match that no Red Devil will ever forget. On the 26th of May, 1999, at the Camp Nou in Barcelona, Manchester United faced Bayern Munich in the final of the Champions League. This was the match to win it all, to become the first ever English team to achieve the treble. But there was a massive problem. 2 of their most influential midfielders, the heart and soul of the team, Roy Keane and Paul Scholes, were suspended. The team was hobbled. So one man had to step up to shift from his usual position on the wing and take control of the midfield. That man was David Beckham. Just 5 minutes into the game, disaster struck. Mario Basler scored for Bayern. Manchester United were trailing 1-0. And that scoreline remained frozen on the board as the minutes ticked agonizingly by all the way until the clock hit the 90th minute. The hope was gone. The dream was dead. Not even the most hardcore optimistic fan could have possibly imagined that just 4 minutes later, Manchester United would be champions of Europe. But one thing made it possible. And it wasn't Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's baby face or his killer instinct, as crucial as they were. It was David Beckham and his magical right foot. It was his delivery, his composure under the most extreme pressure imaginable. In the dying moments of injury time, he would ping 2 perfect corners into the box, 2 moments of sheer quality that led to 2 goals in the space of 3 minutes. It was chaos. It was disbelief. It was history. In that single breathtaking moment, Beckham had shown the world everything. He didn't just have the skill, the good looks, and the fame to be a global superstar. He had the willpower, the resilience, and the sheer determination to make himself a legend. One of football's greatest. He had gone from villain to hero, but his journey was far from over. His relationship with Sir Alex was about to face its biggest test, and his career would take a turn no one saw coming. If you love stories of football's greatest icons and their incredible journeys, make sure you're subscribed because we have so many more legends to explore together. By the end of that historic year, Beckham would narrowly lose out on the Ballon d'Or, finishing second to the Brazilian maestro Rivaldo, who had an incredible season himself, winning the Copa America and La Liga with Barcelona. I'm not saying Rivaldo didn't deserve it, but if I had a vote, I'd have voted twice for David Beckham. You might think that orchestrating the greatest comeback in Champions League history would have been enough to win over the English media. But you'd be wrong. The narrative continued. They claimed his wife was a bad influence, that he wasn't focused, that United should sell him. At Euro 2000, it only got worse. In a match against Portugal, where England were defeated 3-2, Beckham was the architect of both English goals. But still the crowd taunted him, booed him relentlessly to the point where he was goaded into raising his middle finger to the stands. Despite the constant storm surrounding him, his importance to England was undeniable. By the end of the year, he was given the captain's armband, a symbol of his resilience and his undeniable leadership. Over the next few years, Beckham's form was sublime. He helped Manchester United win 3 consecutive Premier League titles, consistently topping the assist charts and helping the team win by record margins. But behind the scenes, his relationship with Sir Alex Ferguson continued to deteriorate. The manager, like the media, believed his celebrity lifestyle was a distraction. He was dropped from matches, fined for missing a training session, to care for his sick son, an incident made more complicated by the fact that Victoria had still attended London Fashion Week. Then in 2001 came another moment of pure, unadulterated Beckham magic. It was a World Cup qualifier against Greece at Old Trafford. England needed a point to secure their place in the 2002 World Cup, but they were trailing 2-1 as the clock ticked into injury time. The nation held its breath. A free kick was awarded just outside the box. There was only one man for the job. Beckham stepped up the weight of a nation on his shoulders once again. He struck the ball with that trademark whip and curl, and it flew past the wall and into the top corner of the net. The stadium erupted. He had done it again. He had single-handedly dragged England to the World Cup. That goal was pure magic, a moment that gives you goosebumps even today. If you know someone who needs a reminder of what a phenomenal player Beckham was, share this story with them. And while you're at it, let me know in the comments which legend story you want to hear next. By 2003, the relationship with Sir Alex reached its breaking point. After a defeat to Arsenal, a furious Ferguson, in a fit of frustration, kicked a football boot that was lying on the dressing room floor. The boot flew across the room and struck Beckham just above the eye, leaving a cut that required stitches. That was it. For Beckham, it was the final straw. The trust was broken, the relationship irreparable. By the next transfer window, he was gone. He was heading to Real Madrid. He left Manchester United having won 6 Premier League titles in 12 glorious years. His $37 million transfer made him one of the most expensive English players of all time, a fitting price for a player who was about to become one of the Galacticos. And really, what team was more perfect for him? The most mediatic player of all time, joining the most mediatic team of all time. It was a match made in commercial heaven. Unable to wear his beloved number 7 as the club legend Raúl already had it, Beckham chose number 23, a tribute to another global sporting icon, Michael Jordan. But the Galactico dream didn't start smoothly. The first season was a huge disappointment, with the star-studded team only managing to win the Spanish Super Cup. The coach Carlos Queiroz, who had been Beckham's assistant coach at Manchester United, stepped down. His replacement, José Antonio Camacho, wanted the highly paid superstars to train at sunrise and in all weather conditions. They didn't like that one bit and nearly boycotted, leading to Camacho stepping down after only 3 matches. His assistant took over, but he wasn't the right fit either. Then came Vanderlei Luxemburgo, but he also failed to deliver the first-place finish that President Florentino Perez so desperately desired. He too was sacked and replaced by Juan Ramón López Caro. Amidst all of this managerial chaos, Beckham took part in the 2006 World Cup. After England were knocked out once again by Portugal, he emotionally announced that he was stepping down as captain, passing the armband to John Terry. At the time, it wasn't meant to be an international retirement. But after England failed to qualify for Euro 2008, Beckham never competed in another major tournament for his country. Another unsuccessful season at Real Madrid saw not only the coach, but also the president step down. In came Fabio Capello. Believe it or not, after 4 seasons of managerial craziness, Beckham was now 32 years old. They had wasted an incredible opportunity with that team of superstars. And so Beckham made another shocking move. He left European football for the MLS, joining the LA Galaxy. His arrival in the United States wasn't just a transfer. It was a cultural event. It was arguably the best thing that ever happened, not only to the LA Galaxy, but to the entire league. Suddenly, the world knew who the LA Galaxy were. They were the team David Beckham played for. You know, the United States, and especially Los Angeles, loves its celebrities, and Beckham was the ultimate sports celebrity. I could probably make a whole other video just to cover the tidal wave of endorsements, reality shows, interviews, and award ceremonies that were set up for him. It was total insanity. The point is, on the pitch, it took time. His commitment was questioned, especially when he went on loan to AC Milan during the MLS off-season, trying to stay fit for a potential England call-up. The LA Galaxy fans weren't so fond of him anymore, calling him a fraud and a part-time player. But Beckham, as he always did, won them back with his performances. He led the team to the MLS Cup final and got them on his side once more. He would oddly return to Milan for another loan spell, and he looked sharp even playing back at Old Trafford one last time as an opponent. But then disaster struck again. He suffered a severe Achilles tendon injury, a devastating blow that would see him miss most of the season. After taking the rest of the year to get back into shape, he returned to LA with a vengeance. He went on to win 2 MLS Cups in 2 consecutive years, for the Galaxy leaving the club to a thunderous standing ovation in his final game. He had arrived as a celebrity, but left as the biggest legend in the club's history. But he wasn't quite finished. He joined Paris Saint-Germain for the final half-season of the European calendar, a final victory lap. In a touch of class, he donated his entire salary to a local children's charity. He added the French League title to his incredible resume. In his final game, he was given the captain's armband. When he was substituted in the 80th minute, the entire stadium, players and fans alike, rose to their feet. The stadium erupted in cheers for the great man, and as he walked off the pitch, he could not keep the tears from flowing. As much as anyone might say he didn't focus enough on football, there should be no doubt, no denying David Beckham's absolute love for the sport. He was one of the most entertaining, iconic figures the game has ever seen, an absolute idol for generations of young fans. Every kid on the playground wanted his latest haircut and tried to hit a free kick with that impossible bend that only he could master. I know I did. I've been trying to ping passes like him since I was a boy, to no avail. The man was a genius. And I will not entertain the thought that he was just a celebrity or not focused enough. Those claims only ensure that David Beckham became one of the most underrated legends the game has ever seen. There's a reason that when someone tells you to bend a shot, they tell you to bend it like Beckham. And that's where this incredible football story concludes. What a journey, right? From a London boy with a dream to a national villain, a treble-winning hero, a global icon, and finally a legend who proved everyone wrong. I'm so eager to hear your thoughts. What moment stood out to you the most? Did his struggle against the media resonate with you? Please share all your opinions, your favorite moments, and any questions you have in the comments below. I truly love reading them and building this amazing football community with all of you. See you next week.